Alright. So here I will show you how the meat grinders work and how that design contributes to how they're actually broken when you use more than two. We got this little problem with the meat grinders where they just aren't working properly. So I will be using wheels from exhibition since I don't have grinders myself. This was like another player who showed me like that what's up with this, and I'm just making the suggestion myself now. So let's go to exhibition, type in meat. I am looking for some meat. Oh yeah. So let's have a look at this taxi build, which only has two meat grinders, and how this thing works, and why only two meat grinders work in a build, and why four meat grinders don't work at all. So let's go here. Stop! Hammer time. And let's see how this thing works if I turn in place. If I just stand still and turn. Check out the meat grinder here. Now as you can see, the meat grinder consists of two axes moving in different directions if needed. Sometimes they'll move in the same direction, like for example if you steer, then they will go in the same direction. And if you turn while you're strafing, you know that some parts of the grinders will slow down, like the front axe here is actually slowing down. Whoop. And now the back axe is slowing down as I'm steering left and I'm strafing left and steering right. So it's basically the combination of the axes and how they interact with each other is how the whole grinder thing sort of works, you know. And this works really well when you have only two meat grinders, basically like one per side, you know. The interaction between the two is how this thing works. So, and it's pretty awesome, works really well as long as you use only two meat grinders. The problem arises when you use more than two meat grinders. It doesn't work, and you're about to see why. Here I have this build called Reapers. It's got Reapers as weapons, surprise! And we're about to see why this 4 meat grinder build is actually pretty broken. Let's go outside, see the sun, woo! And stop, enjoy the sun. And let's turn and see how the axes of the meat grinders work here. If you ask me, I think it's a miracle that this thing turns in the first place. You know, it's basically trying to split itself apart from the middle and like have the front side and the back side like turn separately. It doesn't work properly. So my suggestion is that instead of working independently, have all the axes of the grinders work globally. If you equip 4 grinders, have both axes of the back grinders work in one direction, and both axes of the front grinders to work another direction. So if you for example would take this build outside and you would stop and just turn in place, these two axes here would work in the same direction, and these two axes here would work in another direction, and that way this whole thing basically becomes like one giant meat grinder to rule them all. And you know, basically equipping single meat grinder would be like equipping 2 steering wheels. The grinder's axes would then work similar to how steering wheels work, depending on how they're placed and how many you have them. What that means is that basically, like I said, the meat grinder consists of 2 axes which can work in separate directions. So here is our simulated single meat grinder here. I've got 2 steering wheels here, and if I have just one meat grinder equipped, it'll work just like a single meat grinder works now. You know, the different axes work in different directions when you turn left or right. If you equip another meat grinder, let's simulate the second meat grinder and the 2 axes of it. That's how it should work, just like with steering wheels. So basically, just like with steering wheels, you know, the craft should ask itself like how many axes do I have, and then like change its steering behavior depending on like how many axes you have. Like here I have 4 axes, and then it splits them into 2. So a single meat grinder would be like 2 axes. And that's how you will get a built like this to steer properly, it will turn like as fast, or at least almost as fast as a guy like this, which turns quite a bit faster, at least theoretically. There's one caveat though. The forward movement must stay the same, or otherwise you'll run into steering issues if you lose one grinder. So the forward movement is actually like, you know, the forward and back axis moving in different directions, and the left and right axis move in opposite directions. So in that way the craft will move forward, and if you would have them so that when you drive forward, these guys would move in one direction and these guys would move into another, it would mean that if you lose like this grinder, you're gonna have some weird steering issues like right off the bat. And with the forward movement, where all the axes move in different directions, you'll sort of retain your forward movement even if you lose one of the grinders. Yeah, that's it. That's my suggestion, you know. Have a global steering with all the axes and not just look at like itself. Yeah. Thanks.